when we go over stuff, I'm looking for you to give me feedback. Tell me what you got from the reading. Tell me how you understand it, okay? That's how you get the points. It's just by participating, not by being right when we're going this over. So you're saying, when am I supposed to be right, Mrs. Simonson? When do you guys think you're supposed to be right? Tests and quizzes, right? But now when we're having whole class discussions, you don't have to be right. I just want you to talk to me. I just want to have a chat. Let me get one more piece of paper, and then we'll start. You ready? Got it up. Bring up your answers. Align this so they can see what I'm writing on the board, maybe. First question says, why is the cell membrane said to be selectively permeable? Raise your hand and share what you have for that one, knowing it's okay. If you are wrong, no one in this classroom will bully you and make fun of you if you get it wrong. Because that is not allowed unless they want to hang out with me afterwards. We don't bully. That's not nice. We encourage exploration. We don't try and make other people feel bad. That's by Karma. Okay, share what you have. Caleb?
I said some stuff can stay in and some stuff must stay out.
Good. Did anybody word it any other way they want to share? Something like that. Jeff?
Because it just lets some things out. Like
Yeah. Some things it should, right? It shouldn't be letting coronavirus in, but then sometimes things go bad, right? So it should be selectively permeable. Sometimes it lets in things it shouldn't, and that's how we get sick. Or it doesn't let in things it should, and that's how we get sick. Like, for example, if you have diabetes, and your cell's supposed to be letting the sugars into your cells, but it doesn't have the insulin that it needs to open that gateway, then you're not going to get sugars into your cells, and you're going to have diabetic seizure. So that's bad, right? So if it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, that's how we get illness. It's the stuff that science and medicine is trying to fix. Next question. What are 3 molecules the cell membrane is primarily made up of? Marina?
Lipids, proteins, and carbohydrates.
Good. So lipids, proteins, and carbohydrates. Can you guys raise your hand if you've heard of those before? Right? We've all heard of them maybe, okay, in terms of like our diet. Just to get pumped for next week, we're going to learn all about biomolecules next week. So biomolecules are the things that all living organisms are made up of. That's next week's lesson. So those will make more sense is what I'm saying. So basically, if you're like, I don't really know what a lipid is, I don't really know what a protein is, I don't really know what a carbohydrate is, don't worry. Knowledge is coming. Get pumped, okay? The cool thing about learning about those biomolecules is it helps you understand how can I better take care of my body. So you learn a little bit of like nutrition and the reason for consuming the things that we consume. So that'll be next week, all right? Define passive transport. What do you have for that, Grace?
This is a small cell with no energy can pass through.
Yes, you don't have to have exactly what I have, just as long as it's something similar. The key points that you should know about passive transport, if you didn't write from high to low, will you write that in now, or type it in now? So passive transport always goes from highly concentrated to more dispersed, right? Concentration means how much do we have in a certain area. And then, just like Grace said, without energy, right? Grace, you said without energy. Yeah, make sure that's in your answer. That's really important because the opposite of passive transport is going to be active transport, which we'll talk more about, okay? So make sure you have that down or something like that. Listen, describe 3 types of passive transport. Tristan, start us off.
Diffusion, when any molecule moves from high to low concentration. Osmosis, when water moves from high to low concentration. Facilitated diffusion, when large molecules move through a channel protein and small protein.
I did not give you enough room to write all that in that space, did I? Those of you guys that were writing on paper, sorry about that. Yeah, the 3 things are diffusion, osmosis, and facilitated diffusion. Those are all passive transport. So what does that mean? Those are all things that you don't need energy for. Your body just does it. So think about it this way. It's like floating down a stream. If you got into an inner tube and you went down the Autrain River, right, with the flow of the river, you wouldn't have to put in any energy. You could just sit on that inner tube and eventually you'd end up in Lake Superior, right, eventually. So that's passive. Unlike if you went in the other direction, you started at the mouth of the Lake Superior, and you went backwards, that would take a lot of energy, right? That'd be like a salmon swimming upstream. That's active transport. Okay, keep that in mind, especially when we give the next question, because it'll help you remember it, hopefully. But let's look at each of these. Diffusion is anything. That's if someone farts in a sauna, right? It diffuses out. It doesn't have to be through a membrane. It doesn't have to be inside of a cell even. It's a very broad term. So osmosis and facilitated diffusion are types of diffusion. Specific types of diffusion. Does your definition of osmosis have through a membrane in there? Add that. It has to be diffusion of water, just water. Osmosis is only water. And it has to be through a membrane. So if you guys are like, I already got that down. They're all moving from high to low concentration. They all have no energy input, all these examples. Facilitated diffusion, that's when we have that protein bridge that you should have drawn on your Amoeba Sisters homework last night. If you didn't, no big deal. My students struggle with that. But now, maybe tomorrow we'll be able to fix those drawings if we need to fix them, okay? So it acts like a bridge, allowing things to move through. Question?
Did you say it had to be through water?
Osmosis. It has to be through a membrane, and it has to be water passing through a membrane. We're going to talk about osmosis and facilitated diffusion more tomorrow, but tweak your answers. Sorry if you can't read my squished answer there. I'll try to make it a little bigger for you. Okay. You guys can make like an alarm sound when you have to wipe off your desks. I have a feeling I'm going to talk. So a minute before the bell, feel free to make noises. All right. What does it mean to move down the concentration gradient? Braden, what did you have for that one?
The movement of molecules from high concentration area to low concentration.
Right. So that's kind of why I gave you the Autrain River example. We're moving down the river. It's easy. Okay? Raise your hand if you've gone down Autrain River. So you know what I'm talking about. It's pretty fun. If you haven't done it, do it. One of the fun things to do in this area. What types of molecules can diffuse through the cell membrane without using a channel protein? Help us out there, John.
I think water or oxygen.
Yes, water, oxygen. We tack on carbon dioxide as well. Small covalent molecules. You guys, if you can write chemical formulas, you don't have to write words. Don't write both, right? Learn the shorthand of science. It's great. O2, H2O, CO2. Start writing them that way. We use those molecules a lot in biology, if you want. You can write out the words if you'd like. Number 7, why is it so important for your body to maintain water and sugar homeostasis? I want to hear from someone I have not, please. Izzy.
To keep major problems from happening.
Yeah, you could say so many things, right? Maybe you could say the sugar allows energy for the cell, the water allows plant cells to stay upright. And so just basically, you don't have to write exactly what I have. If you have something along the lines of sugar and water allow cells to function and survive and live. Did you say something like that? Okay, that's good. Number 8, why is facilitated diffusion a form of passive transport? Let's answer that first one first. Sylvie, can you tell me what you have for that one? Yep, it's still high to low, and then we can also talk about energy. Does it require energy? Doesn't require energy. Good. The types of molecules that are going to need help that we would use facilitated diffusion for are large molecules. Or maybe they're charged particles. So they could be small, but they have a charge. So the reason, the chemistry magic behind why cell membranes only allow certain things in is because it has to do with charge, and it has to do with something called polarity, which you'll learn in chemistry. Polarity is like why oil and water don't mix. You learn, anyone in chemistry right now? I know that you probably haven't gotten to polarity yet, but you'll learn it next year. Another reason to get psyched for more knowledge. Chemistry is coming up next year. Tonicity vocabulary we're going to use in tomorrow's activity. So the tonicity vocabulary you need to know is maybe words you saw in the Amoeba Sisters video. First one is hypotonic. What did you write down for hypotonic? What do you have for that one? Delaney?
There's one on.
Okay, remind me that I have to talk about the 3 on the bottom, and Delaney's going to tell me what tonicity is. So Delaney, remind me that we didn't go over those 3 definitions tomorrow before we do tomorrow's worksheat. Wipe down your desks.
Do we fill this in on Right?
No, things that I go over with you in class, you use to help you do in your review or you use to study, okay?
So it's.
So I don't grade notes, no.
Just participate.
Right, right.
I have them set up in the back.